Hey guys, and welcome back to Battlefront updates and some more Ahsoka talk. Because my god, did we have a good episode today? Probably one of the best pieces of Star Wars I've seen. Like, television-wise, I'm thinking like Mando Season 2 finale, Andor finale, that kind of, or Andor, the one where they break out of the jail. It's up there. It's up there. One of the best pieces of content I've seen. That's for sure. So yeah, I'm curious what you all think about it. Hello there, Bertie, Luke, Max, Narutard, Martin, Nick. Good to see you. Glad you were able to make it. Halixion. Hello there to you too. Oh, wait 1 second. Let me get the chat. Oh shit. Blah blah blah. I'm just trying to get the chat up on my streaming PC. I don't know what. Fuck you, Chrome. Just let me open up the chat, please. Oh my god. Why is it not letting me open up the chat? Come on. My streaming PC is starting to feel a little bit too old. It's like 10 years old now, pretty much. Not all the parts, but some of the stuff. There we go. Chat is up, so I can actually look in the right direction and read your comments. There we go. Obigom, how's it going, man? Good to see you. And Blob Snail, hello there. David, hello, hello there. Hey, Snips indeed. Nick, how's it going? Good to see you all. Padme talk, yeah, I guess it's relevant to start talking Padme this stream too, isn't it? I gotta get one of those. You know, paying your bills these days is pretty tricky. YouTube income is going down while everything's costs are going up. I need to get those Padme clips going again. Get those 2-3 million views or whatever it was. That was indeed World Between Worlds. I mean, I'm 99% sure. I don't know what else it would be. Even the bridge-like thing that she's on looked similar to what we saw in Rebels. There are a few things that makes me think maybe it's not entirely that, because World Between Worlds, when Ezra physically went in there, it was more like a physical place he went into. She kind of just wakes up there, and the burn on her hand seemed to be gone as well, which kind of makes it feel like it's more of a hallucination-like thing, but I don't know. The World Between Worlds is a very complicated subject, so it's kind of hard to say exactly what that was, but I'm sure they'll explain it. All good, Nick. All good. Happy to see Ahsoka really ramping up now, and we all knew that Dave Filoni was gonna direct episode 5, and now we definitely know why, because we're gonna get a bunch of Ahsoka and Anakin stuff for sure. Weekly edition of Rear Watch. Yeah, it was a great episode indeed. Someone said Anakin's saber was his Vader one. Yeah, I actually made a video on that, which I haven't uploaded yet, because I'm curious, how long do you guys think you have to wait with spoilers? I'm trying to look around YouTube. Some channels are already posting Anakin in their thumbnails, some are not. I've got a video discussing the whole lightsaber thing ready to go, but okay, yeah, I already see 2 channels in my subscription feed that less than an hour ago had Anakin in the thumbnail, so I'll probably upload it a little bit later tonight. But yeah, in short, in regards to the lightsaber, I think it's really hard to see. I zoomed in, I increased the lighting a little bit, and I still think it looks like Anakin's saber more so than Vader's, and that it's just the dark reflection from his robes that makes it look like it could be Vader's. But I'm not I'm like 80% sure it's Anakin's saber, but it could be Vader's too, so it's hard to say. Yeah, David, I same here. I didn't think they were gonna put World Between Worlds in live action, because I wasn't really sure how it was gonna be implemented. At least now we know that it visually works, because it looked great. The question now is just how they're gonna explain it and actually evolve it, because we've just seen like 30 seconds of it. So yeah, we'll see about that. Who do you think pulled her into World Between Worlds? That's a tricky thing. Like, was she pulled? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but we only know that Ezra physically entered World Between Worlds using that key and the actual door, and then he obviously pulled Ahsoka through a door, but I mean, Palpatine somehow accessed it. Maybe not physically, but he was doing the whole Force thing. So I guess he could get in there with his Force powers, but not physically get in there. I'm not sure. And I think Yoda also spoke a little bit through World Between Worlds. So there are multiple ways to access it. So since Cetos is a very old, ancient planet, it's not impossible that there's an actual doorway to World Between Worlds right there, and she physically entered it, or something like that.
I am the Senate.
Ronin, thank you very much for the 17 months in the Senate. I like Andor more than Ahsoka so far. That's fair enough. I mean, those two are pretty much the best series so far. So, I mean, it's two very different types of series. So I understand if you like one over the other. I can't really pick. I think Andor was more consistently good. Ahsoka, if it keeps this up, will probably be my favorite series, but we'll see. But yeah, so I don't know if she was actually dragged in there, because it didn't really seem like... I mean, imagine if it was Anakin, but that also doesn't make sense, because how would Anakin get into World Between Worlds? How would that version of Anakin, the good pre-turn Anakin, get into World Between Worlds? That doesn't really make sense either. And if that was the case, then he would have stopped himself from becoming Vader, blah, 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 blah. It's like it's a wormhole when you start talking about that, so I'm not really sure. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Obegom, that she somehow fell into it. Yeah, I think we got Vader's theme because something is tricky. Whether it's... I saw some theories about it actually being the son, because, you know, the son and the daughter and the father are... The Mortis Gods are highly connected to the World Between Worlds. We even see them on the doorway. So it wouldn't be unlikely that the son is somehow involved and is tricking by pretending to be Anakin, or it's a dark side Anakin. Oh, freaking hell, I don't know. It's so hard. I also feel like it's kind of out of character if that's actually like dark side Anakin trying to trick Ahsoka too. So man, it's hard. There are so many ways that could go. It's tricky to say. Eduardo, hello there. And Imperial's aim. Max, thank you very much for the 6 months in the Senate. 11/6 months. I'm not sure what you mean. 2 accounts maybe. But Max, thank you very much. Max and Ronin, appreciate your continued support here on the channel. Thank you for sticking around, the senators. Hello there, Patrick. Yeah, it's a dark brother, exactly. But the daughter is dead, and because the daughter and the father is dead, right? Or no, the father might have survived. The daughter died, but the father is alive, and the son is alive, if I'm not mistaken. I don't freaking know. It's World Between Worlds feels like it could go any way. It's so like they have us guessing. The thing is, there are leaks out there, and I'm trying to avoid them because I don't think it's any fun. So it's hard to like believe which leaks are true and not. But now that we can basically back check and see who got this episode correctly, then they probably got the next couple of episodes correctly, and I don't really want to get spoiled, you know? So yeah. That's how Ezra got into World Between Worlds. He fell into it. Did he? I don't remember exactly. It's been too long since I remember they were at that wall and he figured something out with the paintings and somehow got in there. But I don't remember how he physically entered it, if that makes sense. Balen is probably one of my favorite characters in Star Wars. Like, seriously. He's so well-spoken, great fighter, He's honest, honorable, and he's really is a dark Jedi. He's far from a Sith. He's not full of hatred, at least not a lot of it. He doesn't lie. Like when he tells Sabine, "Okay, I'm gonna let you come with us," he actually keeps his word. And he even felt a little bit bad about having to fight Ahsoka. So he's a very nuanced character, because a lot of the characters so far, Ahsoka is a little bit in between, but mostly Jedi and Sith are just like super good, everything, we can't have any casualties, blah, blah, blah. Sith is just like hatred, kill everyone, hate everyone, kill everyone, full power, I need power, you know. But this is like in between. It's like a Jedi, but that doesn't care about killing people, but it just doesn't want to kill for no reason, if that makes sense either. So yeah. A live action version of the Battle of Lothal. That would be pretty cool if they actually, man, if they showed like the Ezra Purgil Thrawn thing as in live action. I don't know if that could even be done in a good way, but yeah. Are you disappointed that Marrok died and we don't seem to learn much more about him? Not really. I feel like he was never introduced to be. He was just there, and then he just died, and that's fine. We already have Shin, we have Balen, we have Thrawn, we have so many interesting characters that I feel like he was just supposed to be some mercenary, and that's what he was. That's why they didn't need to give him a full story, and they still showed that he was indeed some type of Inquisitor juiced up on Night Sister magic, since when he died, he basically went out the same way as Savage Opress. So yeah, I'm actually fine with the way Marrok turned out. And yeah, it's such a shame that Ray Stevenson passed away. I wish he was alive to just see everyone's reactions to his character and how much everyone loves him. I have no clue how. I mean, obviously he's not gonna be able to show up in a season 2 or anything like that. So I'm curious how they're gonna tackle him, because he seems to be a pretty crucial part of the story. But I guess once Thrawn is introduced, he's gonna maybe take over, and we still of course have Morgan Elspeth as a big bad villain. But I would imagine that when Thrawn comes into the picture, he's gonna be the new important one, if that makes sense. Hello there, Lord Skywalker, how's it going? The Night Sister magic had to possess someone's body, but whose? I mean, even the official Star Wars site says that Marrok was an old Inquisitor. So I think that either he was just straight up an Inquisitor who survived, who either was just hurt, wounded, or just survived overall, and he met Elspeth, and she was like, okay, I'll juice you up with some Night Sister magic, and then you work for me. Or the Inquisitor was actually dead, and she kind of just reanimated the Inquisitor. I don't think he's an unknown person, but we do know Marrok was an Inquisitor, and exactly how and when he got juiced up on Night Sister magic is hard to say, but obviously sometime after the fall of the Empire, I would say. Yeah, both the Purgil and World Between Worlds, like, I feel like all the CGI this season has been spot on. I can't really think of anything like out of that was a bit strange. I feel like they've nailed most of the stuff so far. I know, right, David? I saw that. I saw that they had physical. I didn't know it was in the UK too. I thought it was US only. Man, if they had that here in Sweden, I would totally go there to see it in person. Because I think, man, it's been so long since we experienced Star Wars on the big screen. And like, imagine if the Luke appearance in season 2 of Mando. Imagine if being in a room with hundreds of people to see that. That would be amazing. And now whatever happens in episode 5 of Ahsoka, to experience that with others would be epic. So yeah, I'm a bit jealous. Oh, Max, sorry to hear, my friend. My condolences. Hope you and your family are doing okay. Oh, fuck. Oh, nice. KO. How did this mosquito get in here? I don't even know. Sniped. Did anyone think Anakin looked off like ghostly or something? I'll say that I thought Anakin looked good, but he didn't look 100%. I thought that he I couldn't really tell. Yeah, like ghostly might be the word, like you said. I still thought, I mean, obviously they've de-aged him and things like that, so he's not gonna look exactly like he did in episode 3. That's not really what I expected. But yeah, something was a little bit off with him. A little bit. I am Swedish indeed. Lord Skywalker, I wish I knew if that is actually Anakin. I mean, I don't think it's Anakin that somehow found the world between worlds before the events of Revenge of the Sith and then entered that place as a good Anakin to pull Ahsoka out. I don't think that's what's happening, because that really wouldn't make sense. That would break the timeline a little bit too much. And so I think it's just some type of manifestation of him, whether it's in her mind or maybe like the sun or some dark side figure playing mind tricks. Or, I mean, actually, it's not on. It could just be like a Force Ghost version, right? I mean, that we know that Vader showed up as a Force Ghost at the end of Return of the Jedi. So, and even in the so maybe a Force Ghost can manifest themselves to look a bit more physical in World Between Worlds. That feels like it's not unlikely either. Sure, where all the other Force Ghosts, blah blah blah, but wouldn't that actually make a little bit more sense? Because then it would actually be Anakin there, not physically as in a live Anakin, but it would be Anakin's mind, Anakin's good side, the turned back Anakin that would be there. I'm actually just now thinking that that's the explanation that I feel like makes the most sense. Because then she could have a legitimate conversation with Anakin, like, and she would, maybe they'll come to amends, and she will realize she didn't do anything wrong. He will help her out or whatever, and then that would make sense, I think. Sam, hey, hello there, and John, good to see you guys. Yeah, that could very much be like the cave on Dagobah. That's a good point, David, but I'm not sure how Force Ghosts really work. Can they not just show up in any way they want? Or do they have to look like the way they did when they died? No, that makes sense either, since he has Jedi robes. So I feel like that means that he could basically they can show up in any form they want. They can probably show up naked as Force Ghosts if they wanted to. Do you think the map left the hyperspace location on her hand? That is a very good theory. That's a very good. I was thinking about that before the stream. So how are they gonna solve that issue? Are Thrawn and Morgan Elsbeth and the entire whatever army I'm assuming he has built up gonna just fly straight back? Or is Hera and the rest of the gang and Ahsoka obviously gonna make their way to Peridia? And the hand, I feel like that would be almost. I mean, it wasn't just a physical map. It was complicated night system magic. I mean, we saw all the stuff that kind of flew out into this galaxy thing. I think if that was actually be able to be burnt into her hand, that wouldn't really make a lot of sense, in my opinion.
I am the Senate.
David, thank you very much for the 53 months in the Senate. This is a message for Luke. My Luke, time to go to bed. All right, Luke. I love how you guys are communicating in the chat. Well, it's pretty late. Right, it's 8:30 over in the UK, right? But Luke, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to say good night to you. Good night to you now. Listen to your dad. I know, right, Obegom. It's great to be talking about fantastic Star Wars. I feel like Marvel is kind of dying down, and obviously Disney Plus and just a lot of streaming services are having issues overall. The writers' strike and Star Wars stuff is getting delayed. But Ahsoka is still here and it's delivering, which makes me very happy. Yeah, that would also be only half the map, so I highly doubt that the map will be like burned into her hand, and that's the way they're gonna get there. I think maybe they're just gonna come straight back, you know? That's my guess. But I don't know. I feel like we probably want to see a little bit of that galaxy. And I mean, how are they going to explain what the hell Thrawn and Ezra has been up to the last, I don't know how many years, 10 years, 8 years? I don't remember exactly how many years there is between the Rebels finale and Ahsoka, to be completely honest. Remember, Yoda was able to hit Luke in the head with his cane as a Force ghost, so why would Anakin be able to pull her into World Between Worlds? Yeah, that's true, although that... Force ghost thing is... Oh man, it's tricky to know. I feel like it would be so strange if that was... I mean, if that was Anakin, can you pull your... But I'm assuming you can't pull yourself out, so like... If Anakin went in there as a Force ghost, couldn't he just like pull out himself? Okay. As soon as time travel-ish gets introduced, everything gets so confusing. I do still feel like him being a Force ghost is what makes the most sense. I mean, obviously I'm sure most of you saw the rumors about them somehow jumping back to like Revenge of the Sith and re-experiencing some stuff. I don't know. So I've not kept up to the leaks. I've just seen the generic titles that we've seen all around Twitter and such for the last 2-3 months. But I'm not sure how Anakin and all this stuff is going to fit into the actual overarching story. I'm thinking this is just basically something with Ahsoka for her to, you know, let go, to kind of like get a chance to talk to Anakin, I guess, and experience and realize that she couldn't have changed the outcome. She couldn't have saved Anakin. She couldn't have done anything differently. And with that, come out of it feeling more confident. I mean, a little bit like how Obi-Wan did in the Obi-Wan series after fighting Anakin and realizing it wasn't anything he could have done. Something similar to that, but through World Between Worlds. Yeah. Martin, yeah, you're kind of right that there's no air, but I'm assuming when you use an hyperspace engine, just as when you use a, well, any engine, like if you take a rocket in space, it doesn't push air to the side, but it definitely has a big freaking heat outburst in the back. So I think that makes sense, you know, that if you go into hyperspace between galaxies, which is obviously like a huge speed boost, it makes sense that there will be a lot of energy bursts from that. So I think knocking around the ships that way makes sense. It's not because of the air, but more from the shockwave of the engines, I would say. That would actually be pretty cool, David, if all the Force Ghosts are actually like hanging out there in the world between worlds, and they can like. I think maybe it has to be a Force Ghost. If that's not a Force Ghost, what else is it? How in that case, either it's Force Ghost Anakin, or that's not Anakin, or that's in her mind. If that's actually World Between Worlds and she's in there, that has to be a Force Ghost Anakin, or it's someone tricking her. Yeah, I kind of feel like I need to go back and watch the Rebel stuff with World Between Worlds too. Yeah, if it's someone tricking her, I also thought that it could be the son. I just think that I thought the son, the daughter, and the father was already a complicated and strange enough subject when it was introduced in Clone Wars, and initially I was like, what the fuck is this? And then after a while, after, watching more Star Wars, I was like, okay, I understand it to some degree, and we've seen it in Rebels and such, but the concept of us actually seeing, plus they're stuck on Mortis too, so the concept of trying to explain Mortis and the Sun to a casual audience when it's already complicated enough with World Between Worlds and interstellar travel, I just think it's too complicated. I could be wrong, and I'd be happy to see him in there, but I don't know. Did any Force Ghosts appear with their sabers? That is a good question. I don't know. Yeah, and that would explain Sam Witwer in the credits, but I mean, like in Andor, he played like a random shore trooper, if I'm not mistaken. So he could very well be doing that, considering he showed up in the credits for the earlier episodes. That means it must have been in those episodes that he showed up, right? Yeah, I like that one, Patrick. When Sabine, Shin obviously didn't know that Sabine wasn't force sensitive, so she actually thought that Sabine was force pushing and actually tried to block it. I thought that was pretty cool, and then I was like, wait, what? I don't feel anything. That's not a force push. And then she used the Mandalorian, whatever, wrist gun or something, which was pretty cool. That's a tricky question, Patrick. I'm not sure if it's. Well, I'd imagine getting hit by a force push would feel like, someone physically pushed you, I guess. Shin did not watch those wrist rockets. I love that she kind of raged out and like started force choking Sabine, and he was like, "No, let her go, let her go." Who is stronger, the Sun or Thanos? Oh man, I don't know how. Like, I mean, Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet, that's unbeatable. But I feel like if it was Thanos without the Infinity Gauntlet, in a physical battle, the Force should win, and a lightsaber should be able to penetrate. I mean, considering even Iron Man was able to make Thanos bleed a little bit with a physical blow, I would imagine that a lightsaber would cut through him. But I guess the Sun didn't really have a lightsaber. I don't know. I would say that Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet would beat anyone in the Star Wars galaxy. Without, I don't know. Do you think we'll see Ezra next episode? Maybe. I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen when they show up in Peridia. They got like, hey, what's up? Here's Thrawn. Here's Ezra. I don't know. I think so. Lord Skywalker, how would the Son actually win against Thanos? I mean, with the Infinity Gauntlet, you can literally just think of someone and snap his fingers and they die, pretty much. Hello there, Simon. Oh, you haven't seen Ahsoka yet, so you should be careful with spoilers here then. I mean, yeah, it's hard to say. Andor was more consistently good. The first 3 episodes of Ahsoka were good, and the 4th one was amazing. So if they can keep that up, it might become my favorite Star Wars series. We'll see. Well, he is a celestial god, but he seemed pretty physical when they were at Mortis, Lord Skywalker. Okay, I'm not gonna... I don't know how a Force Celestial living on Mortis will interacts with I don't even remember what Thanos is. He's a... What the hell is his race? Whatever. Someone who has a gauntlet that can wipe anything out with a snap of the finger. So I'm not gonna have that discussion because I don't think there's a right answer. Well, how's it going? I'm doing all well, Imperial Same. How about you? Welcome back, Luke. Let's hope that David isn't still in the chat and sees you here. But I would bet that Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet would win against the Sun. That's my opinion. And you're more than welcome to disagree with me. I don't think Ahsoka is that underpowered. I mean, considering she kind of wrecked... I wouldn't say she lost against an Inquisitor. She obviously wrecked him without a problem in episode 4. And then against Balen, I would say she had a bit of an advantage until she severely burned her hand. At that point, she lost but wasn't killed. And Balen is obviously a Jedi who survived for as long as Ahsoka, so it makes sense that he would be fairly equal to her. Inquisitors she should beat, and obviously she did. Man, David, I don't want it to get too crazy with the World Between Worlds stuff. Like, just pull Mace Windu out of there, and then Samuel L. Jackson is back. Like, what's up? I'm here to defeat Thrawn. Hello to Kieran, how's it going? Yeah, that was a great moment. I'm very excited to see how they're gonna use Anakin and how they're gonna explain him. I think maybe, yeah, like maybe he's a Force ghost or something. Who's stronger, Vader or Anakin? I mean, when Anakin turned to the dark side, Vader was stronger than Anakin. That was his peak before he became a cripple, but he was still very strong as that cripple, especially in the beginning before he got older. So, I mean, peak Vader probably beats peak Anakin, but Vader for the... I don't know how long he was not with... I don't know how long Vader was Vader without the armor, like a day or 2 or a week. I don't know how long time that was in the Revenge of the Sith, but that was probably his peak. Well, Lord Skywalker, I see what you mean about the sun not being able to dust away from Thanos' snap, but like, I'm not even gonna take that discussion further because I don't know how the Force interacts with the Marvel universe and with Thanos snaps. We don't really have a measurement of power there. Thoughts on Andor season 2? I am very excited. It seems like it's gonna might be delayed, unfortunately, but I mean, Andor season 1 was fantastic. It was the series I was the least excited for. I was like, oh my god, they're making us like I don't remember when they announced the series Cassian Andor, and I was like, I was almost annoyed. Like, why would you pick the most boring character in Star Wars and make a series about him? And then it turned out to be one of the best series they've made. So, season 2, expectations are high. If Thrawn comes back, would he want to rebuild the Empire? He only joined them for their military strength. That's what I don't really understand. I don't know how much of his army.
I am the Senate.
Marcus, hello there, and thank you very much for the 61 months in the Senate. Much appreciated, my friend. Thank you guys for sticking around the Senate and supporting the channel. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. So what was I saying? I was saying, yeah. So I don't know how many Star Destroyers that like went with Thrawn to and the Purrgil, maybe one or two. It's not a full army. So the question is, do they? I kind of, based on what they say in the Mandalorian and the search for Thrawn, I feel like Thrawn is not gonna bring a lot of power with him from Peridia. I mean, unless he somehow, under these 10 years or whatever it is, has recruited a shit ton of armies, which I think would be hard in a different galaxy without any resources whatsoever. So I think maybe it's more its tactical strength and that they want to bring back to this galaxy to unite the Shadow Council and all the Imperial remnants. So obviously their power would be way less than what the Empire had, but maybe with some power he's gotten from Peridia, or I don't know exactly how, but I it feels like obviously, yeah, in Rise of Skywalker, Palpatine built like 1,000 Star Destroyers that could destroy planets in the shadows. So maybe Thrawn can build something similar in Peridia, but at least Palpatine had way more time and a freaking entire Sith planet and a lot of resources. So even if that still doesn't make sense, it makes even less sense that Thrawn would be able to build something in a separate galaxy where he has zero like contacts, resources, or anything, except for what was on the ships when he went there. So yeah.
Senate.
Boston Beast, thank you so much for the year in the Senate. Get those sheeps in the chat, guys. Appreciate it, Boston Beast. And now you've got the episode 6 Palpatine badge. Beautiful, beautiful. I mean, yes, Thrawn has to be alive. We've seen him in the trailers, so yeah. Otherwise, I'd be very, very annoyed. Yeah, I think they really, now that they told us that Sabine's family is actually dead, I think her decision to try and save Ezra makes a lot of sense. I like the storytelling because it makes full sense that she would try to save Ezra when she literally lost everyone else. But it's also incredibly stupid of Sabine because Ezra sacrificed his life and he was like, I know I'm gonna die or at least be stranded somewhere else, but I'm saving everyone from Thrawn. And then Sabine has the option to basically secure that that's gonna stay, to honor Ezra's sacrifice, but instead of doing that, she's greedy and risks basically ruining the entire galaxy just for a chance of maybe seeing Ezra, who could be even dead. So, incredibly stupid decision by Sabine, and honestly quite disrespectful towards Ezra's sacrifice, but still an understandable. That's a great writing. It's stupid as fuck. It's so stupid that she didn't destroy the map. But it makes sense considering everything that she's been through that she would take the wrong decision. So if that makes sense. Don't you find it odd that there's no Imperial ships helping out Thrawn's return? I mean, yeah, a little bit, because based on what they said in the Shadow Council, there were obviously, I think was it Pelion? I don't remember exactly who it was, but it was someone who, most of them were like, where's Thrawn? We don't care about Thrawn. Whereas some of them were actually, oh yeah, like Gideon didn't, he didn't care about Thrawn, you know? But some of them actually wanted Thrawn to return. So yeah, I figured those people are some, but I think the reason is that Morgan Elspeth probably wanted to do all of this in secret. I mean, if it spreads the slightest bit, the New Republic would intervene, and very few people knew about this project, and it obviously worked all the way until the end, until they tracked the ship. So I would imagine that's why there was no Imperial ships, because the plan wasn't to be able to have to defend it. The plan was just to do it in secret. All right, Luke, I'm sorry there was no Padme talk today, but good night. Good to see you. I don't know who that is, Lord Skywalker. I don't know if it's been 10 years. I'm actually kind of unsure about the years, but it should be somewhere. How long between Rebels and Ahsoka? Yeah, 9 to 12 years. So around 10 years. That's, yeah. I don't know what Ezra and Thrawn would have been doing during all that time. I kind of agree. I think imagine if all of these TV series, including the coming stuff and the movie, would have come up before the sequel trilogy. I think it would be everything would have much more of a backstory. They would probably give them more of a backstory to Palpatine's return, to Snoke, and probably also been able to plan out the writing way better since they had an actual backstory to rely on. Because now it's basically like they're making the sequels slightly a bit better with all the content that adds context, which is kind of a bad way to do it. A little bit how the Clone Wars, in my opinion, made the prequels even better by adding so much depth around the universe, if that makes sense. Renvar, hello there. Thrawn's true fleet is probably hidden. I mean, yeah, that could be. You basically mean that the fleet we saw in Rebels was just a fraction of it, and then the rest of it is hiding somewhere in the outer rims. That could work, even though I don't know how that army would be able to, like, would they just be like, oh, Thrawn is gone, we have no idea where, we don't even know if he's alive, but we're still gonna keep up his army for 10 years, or his fleet for 10 years. It's not unlikely. It's not unlikely. But maybe they even figured out a way to communicate with him, although that doesn't seem very likely. Is that even canon, Lord Skywalker, the Supreme Maker? I've never heard about that before. Do you reckon Ezra and Thrawn became best bro buddies? Yeah, I'm trying to think, like, what do you think happened, like, the moment they arrived there? Like, did they just, like... I mean, maybe the Purgil helped Ezra escape and then just left Thrawn there floating in space. That could make some sense. And then Ezra maybe found whatever people, species, creatures, whatever there's there. I mean, what's there to say that that galaxy doesn't have an empire and a New Republic or a Sith and Jedi? I mean, that galaxy, it's so... yeah, there could be so much stuff there, you know? You still consider Thrawn a good guy? I mean, he's not as maybe ruthless as some of the Empire, but he still kind of just wants to kill anyone. Does Ahsoka series take place after or before Mando Season 3? Around the same time. I don't think we know exactly, but around the same time. Oh yeah, easy. I don't know if the Yuuzhan Vong is gonna team up with Thrawn to defeat the Yuuzhan Vong. I don't think so. It would be interesting to say the least. I don't know too much about Yuuzhan Vong other than that they were from the other galaxy and tried to invade this galaxy in Legends. But are I've heard about the Grisk. The Grisk, from what I understand, are the canon version of the Yuuzhan Vong. But are the Grisk actually from another galaxy? I thought the Grisk were just from like the outer rim or the unknown regions, kind of, not from a separate galaxy. The Grisk are fighting the Chiss at the moment in canon. Okay, yeah, that's what I figured from Wikipedia. We don't exactly know where the Grisks are from, if they are from another galaxy or from the same. But the Chiss ascendancy, is that basically just the Chiss people or something? Because the Chiss seems to be a species we don't see much other than Thrawn. If Palpatine was able to grow the Empire without problems or interiors, do you think the Empire would travel to another galaxy at Thrawn? I don't know. It feels like, even though obviously Palpatine wanted to conquer the galaxy, after he succeeded in establishing the Empire, it seemed like he was more interested in trying to make himself live forever. I think that was kind of his goal, immortality. So if he somehow got word that immortality or something to help him get immortal was in another galaxy, then yes, I think he would have invaded them. Otherwise not. He would not have used his resources for it, to be honest. Alright, Lord Skywalker. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't read about that in Legends either, so I'm not sure. Wait, so Palpatine wanted to conquer the Chiss, but they instead joined him, or what do you think they might have planned for Hera's son, Jason Syndulla? I don't think he's gonna be involved much at all this season, other than just like being a side character. At least I hope he's not gonna get like force powers or something already. That's a little bit too early and maybe not what should be the main focus. But I don't know, honestly, what we're gonna make of him, to be honest. Yeah, I also hope they don't use time travel to make death mean nothing, for sure. This Inferno, I kind of still think it's a Force Ghost, because it doesn't make sense that a good side Anakin would be able to travel forward in time to save Ahsoka, but it makes more sense that it would be a Force Ghost, to be honest. See you later, Lord Skywalker. Yeah, I'm also a bit disappointed we didn't see Seb. I mean, we even saw Carson Treva help out Hera. Wouldn't it make a lot of sense that Seb was there too? The only reason I could think of that they didn't want to have him was because maybe, I don't know, he's hard to animate, or the voice actor didn't want to do it, because otherwise it's like, obviously, if Carson and some random pilots wants to help Hera, why wouldn't Seb want to do the same thing? So, I don't know. I thought that was, yeah. I don't know if we're going to see any Seb, but I hope so. Hello to Sammy Sosa, how's it going? I'm doing very well, thank you. How about you? Good episode today. I do hope we see Thrawn next episode. I think it would be kind of slow if they end up in that galaxy, and then we're gonna have to wait multiple episodes for them to actually find Thrawn. I mean, technically, it's a massive ass galaxy, so it shouldn't be that easy to find him, unless you can do it through like Night Sister magic or a beacon or however it could be. I'm not sure. It's not like that map shows the doorstep to Thrawn's location, but it was more just a map that shows the way to the galaxy. So yeah, I think Thrawn at the end of next episode would make sense. That we might get some World Between Worlds, Anakin and Ahsoka stuff, and then also see some Hera and like Hera investigating stuff, and then at the end we'll see their arrival in the galaxy and maybe Thrawn's first appearance. Yeah, it would make sense that Seb is on his new species planet. I don't remember what it was called, but also he was because he was in Mando, working basically for the New Republic and with Carson Treva, kind of. That's what makes me think that it could have he should have appeared here, to be honest. Yeah, the Vader music in the end was really something that hints that something's off, something's tricky. Obegom, that's actually a good idea. That could be a one way that Ahsoka could actually end up in that galaxy. I don't think Hera and the New Republic will find a way to get to that other galaxy, because that wouldn't make a lot of sense. But I definitely think that Ahsoka getting there through World Between Worlds wouldn't be that weird. Shouldn't the Morai be near Ahsoka? Yeah, that's the bird thingy, right? The sister. But yeah, maybe. Yeah, it didn't look like a Force ghost, but it's like it's tricky. It's hard. It's like I'm really curious how they're gonna play out next week, because there's so many ways they could go. I trust Dave Filoni fully that this is gonna be a good episode, because I feel like the next episode might be one of the most important for the entire season. Hello, Lee. How's it going? New Star Wars memes. Maybe bring in Jar Jar for a little if he's not too old. Not sure if that's the right move. They can make some new memes just like they did with, like a Bantha or stuff like that. But Jar Jar, I think that's yeah. I don't think so. Yeah, Kieran, I agree. That's why I think Ahsoka is still at a good power level. She beats basically anyone she fights, and she was beating Balen until she severely burnt her hand, even though I don't understand why she didn't just cut the little orb in half or something. But I guess obviously it makes Night Sister magic. There's no way she could have known that would burn her, to be honest. So yeah, and yeah, like you said, it wasn't until she got burnt, and even when she got burnt, she was still able to hold him off, while also throwing Shin into the wall. So yeah, I think she has been reasonably powered throughout the entire season. Imagine if Anakin was alive and fought Balen. Like that, yeah, I don't think we're ever gonna see Anakin outside of World Between Worlds. That would just be so messed up if he actually exited and was like time traveled and like what the, it has to be like flashbacks and World Between Worlds and stuff like that. If they actually bring him outside of that, that would just screw with the entire timeline. Then it's like, what's stopping them from bringing back Palpatine again, or Mace Windu, or Qui-Gon, or whatever, So, yeah. So I don't think that's him. I think that's either him as a Force Ghost, or an embodiment of Anakin and Force Ghost that can just not leave World Between Worlds, or it's mostly in her imagination, or it's basically someone trying to trick her, like the Sun. And there's not really any multiverses in Ahsoka, no. Yeah, near-death experience could maybe trigger, like that she kind of floats between the realms or something. I know it didn't shimmer like a ghost, but the reason is because I'm thinking that the Force Ghost in World Between Worlds, which is, like they say, World Between Worlds, they might act very differently there. They might look more realistic. They might be able to actually physically like interact when they're in the World Between Worlds. That we don't really know how Force Ghosts work there. So yeah. Yes, the Ahsoka series is uh like 10 years ish after episode 6. Or a little bit less, I think, maybe 5, 6 years. Have you read the theory about Balen and Shin being the Lothal wolf? No, I think I read something about the wolves, but not them actually physically being the wolves. That wouldn't make too much sense, would it? Who is Balen? Well, we don't really know who Balen is. We just know that he's a former Jedi who's basically turned mercenary and a little bit dark side from what we can tell. He wasn't a known character until this series. I think Hera's son might be talented with the Force. I don't think he's maybe going to play a big role in this part and this timeline, but it might be something for the future where maybe like even Luke trains him and Kylo kills him, or I don't know. How many episodes are left? 4. We're halfway through the season. I want to see the effects of death sticks. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Palin is a clone. Nah, I don't think so. Yes, cool kid. That's a theory that I've been thinking about, and that it could be the son of Mortis pretending to be Anakin. It's definitely a option. Yeah, I like that Balen really is built like a tank. That's yeah. Do you think we'll see Rex? Shouldn't he be kind of dead around this time? I mean, we do know that he shows up in Return of the Jedi, but he ages faster too, so he'd be really old in he'd be really old at this point. So I don't know. It would be cool though. Catherine. That's but like if he, I don't know. Maybe it's not the son, but it could be the son that is basically. I don't know. It's so complicated. I'm not really sure. Didn't the Mortis family all die in their arc? I don't think so. Or I don't even remember. I just remember that the daughter died because she sacrificed herself to revive Ahsoka, which means that part of the daughter kind of lives in Ahsoka, which would also make it more realistic that she has different powers when it comes to World Between Worlds. So yeah, so the gods did all die, did they? Oh yeah, that's what happens. But you're right, they're like gods, so maybe they're obviously since we saw the Morai afterwards, which is the embodiment of the daughter, I think, after she's technically dead, it's a little bit iffy what they actually are. How is the channel with the clips doing? It's doing pretty decent. Every Wednesday it obviously gets a boost. Oh, my latest clip actually about Sabine is doing pretty well, which is good to see. So yeah, it's usually every Wednesday I'm trying to pump out clips. Lord of the Rings, she would return as Ahsoka the White. That would be pretty cool though. Oh yeah, I know. If we had Battlefront 2 right now, we would have had Mando, we would have had Ahsoka, we would have had everything. I don't think they're gonna talk much about the Chosen One prophecy and stuff like that, and I don't think that's actually Anakin, but yeah, it's hard to say. Yeah, we'll probably have Balen, Shin, Moff Gideon, Hera, Sabine. We would have had all of those in Battlefront 2 at this point. Hello there, Bertie. How's it going? You're just catching the end of the stream here. Ventress, yes. I mean, didn't Dennis even say that they had Ventress and Ahsoka worked on? I mean, Guillaume was even in the chat explaining their abilities and everything. So, yeah, it's a bit of a shame. I have played Force Unleashed 1, yes. And 2. Dennis was indeed a gem. You name it, how's it going? That was indeed a fantastic episode. Best Star Wars for a while. I highly doubt we're gonna get a Battlefront 3, but you know, we can always hope. Yeah, I think it's more likely in that case we would get another Star Wars multiplayer game that isn't Battlefront, to be completely honest. But yeah, it's gonna be a long wait for next week, I feel like. I mean, yeah. I tried the Jedi Survivor patch a little bit yesterday, but on PC I did not notice much of a difference, to be honest. I still get a little bit of frame drops under 60, and since haven't played it for a while, I don't really remember. Yeah, so I think the main difference seems to be on console, to be honest. Is Balen's boss even a Night Sister? She doesn't have the white skin. I mean, she obviously uses Night Sister magic, but I don't know if you have to have pale skin for that to be a Night Sister, if that's a different race, or if it's just an aesthetic. But yeah, I think she's pale enough to be a Night Sister. I know for a fact that Battlefront 3 would sell well. It would just be really freaking expensive to make, but it would sell well for sure. And no new content for Survivor, just performance patches, basically. It's kind of weird that no one wants to make a multiplayer Star Wars game, to be honest, except for Hunters, which I don't freaking know what's happening there. We're probably going to get a lot of Hayden next week, Obi. That's my guess. I wonder how much, though. Because every little de-aging and everything is just probably pretty expensive and takes a long time to do. Well, Kieran, if Disney wants money, make a good multiplayer game and you'll make a lot of money. I know, right? You name it. Like, Dave Filoni is just... I'm so happy he's going to get his own movie eventually, because he's just doing everything right. And he obviously loves Star Wars. I just hope he won't get burned out on it or eventually want to stop, because I feel like without Dave Filoni, Star Wars is doomed. I think the Ahsoka show and everything around this kind of sets up the First Order's rise to power. At least a little bit. Maybe showing how eventually Thrawn will be defeated and some people will go down the route of First Order and some will go down the route of resurrecting Palpatine and some will just scatter. I think this is going to be the last Star Wars content for a while. You're right about that. The writer's strike seems to have delayed Skeleton Crew until next year. Which means we're going to have a bit of a gap after this, that's for sure. I don't know why Disney can't just pay their actors and writers fair. I mean, I saw some comparison. It's like 1% or 0.5% of their earnings that they need to actually use to make everyone happy. And they can't even do that. It's so greedy. Well, Kieran, basically, it's not just Disney, but all streaming services have severely underpaid their actors and writers. So they're all kind of on a strike right now, which is why a lot of production has stopped. And those greedy big companies refuse to pay what the actors and writers want. So even though it's, I mean, I feel like based on what I saw, the money they're losing now on the strikes is way more than they would actually have paid. So I don't know. But yeah, guys. Exactly, Kieran. That is correct. But yeah, it's a complicated matter because I also saw that Disney is kind of losing money on Disney Plus. So obviously they don't have an abundance of extra money, even though people like, you know, Bob Iger pays himself 20 million a year or whatever it is. So I don't know. Tricky to say. Yeah, it's like, I don't know. Maybe make more quality over quantity, like for Marvel. Star Wars, I just hope, I just want more Star Wars stuff, you know? Keep up the same cadence and quality as right now. You name it. Thank you so much for returning to the Senate, my friend. Much appreciated. Thank you. And welcome back. Good to see you there with the 3-year badge. Beautiful, beautiful. Good night, David. Appreciate it, you name it. All of you guys sticking around the channel, supporting these streams. Thank you. Cool kid, thank you very much. Brand new senator, we don't get that too often. Get those sheaves in the chat, guys. Long time returning senator, you name it, and brand new senator, cool kid. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you for supporting your memberships, your donos, your super chats. It helps out a ton to keep these streams coming. I'm gonna see if I can squeeze in some of these streams in between the Ahsoka streams. Maybe play some games. I really wanted to stream some Starfield, but I don't know. They never got back to me. I tried to reach out to them. I tried to apply to get like a creator key. No response. So, oh well. Good night, Kieran. I think I'm gonna wrap it up now, guys, for this stream. Trying to keep my sleep schedule not completely messed up. I went up pretty early this morning to watch Ahsoka, which was nice, instead of staying up to 3 a.m. And completely screwing it up. So yeah, the heir to the Senate, indeed. Exactly, you name it. But yeah, as always, if you want to hear more of my thoughts on Ahsoka, I upload a lot of clips on my second channel, short, concise, and main channel is for the streams and the gaming content. Not any thoughts on doing Ahsoka watch parties. I don't know. I personally don't like that because I feel like I'm just gonna sit there quietly. Like I wouldn't want to watch anyone else watching it either. I'd rather discuss it afterwards when everyone has seen it, if that makes sense. So yeah, I think so. But good night, you all. Thank you very much for tuning into the stream. Thank you for supporting and watching the channels. And yeah, as always, may the Force be with you.
Ever hear the tragedy of Darth Vader's wife?
No, I thought not. I thought not.
Ever hear the tragedy of Master Windu?
No, I thought not. I thought not.
Do it. Do it.